got that USB headset. Then we'll hit done, and there we go. Now we're getting some audio. Can we hear me now? I don't know. The little light's moving. We shall see. This is what happens when I take a week off. Good evening and welcome to one of the final, next on deck, final Project Healing Water specials. Hopefully, we're going to be calling her quits next week, the 28th of July. And I'm going to be preparing into transitioning into face-to-face programming finally once again for me. And I'm really hoping I got this audio working. Here we go. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can anybody confirm that my audio is coming through? Because for whatever reason it's not tracking in my ears. But that just could be the mixer. For me, open advanced options. Headset, hide in mixer, tracks, the volume's at 25%. I have no idea. Okay, well, as long as you guys can hear me, that's what really matters. I don't need to hear myself. I know what I sound like. So, anyways, like I was saying, welcome to the next on deck to the last Project Healing Water special. We took last week off for a trip to Montana to do some fly fishing with my father and my brother, and my mother came along, and we missed 1 week on January 6th. For whatever reason, that day just kind of sticks out in my head. Lost internet that day, but ever since the pandemic, we have been doing these Wednesday night live streams for most nights. Most Wednesday nights, we've been doing these for about 2 hours. But we are going to be wrapping up next week. So one final hurrah next week, and then we're going to be going offline for a while. But we will be continuing with the Monday morning live streams. So tonight we will be tying a nice bass pattern. This is the sample I was given. We'll put it up on the bench here in a second. It is the old Mr. Wiggley. And this is one that Dave tied. And we're going to do our best to kind of match this as close as we can. I did watch a couple other videos of the Mr. Wigglies. And one of the differences that I saw was this extra set of legs in the back. Lots of legs on this pattern, and man, this looks bass fishy to me. So we're going to tie some of these up tonight. Basically, I've got pretty much the same stuff going on, but I don't have the exact rubber legs that are in this mix. Anywho, so let's go ahead. We'll do the hokey pokey. We'll spin ourselves around and hop on over to the vise. So this is tied actually on a little bit bigger of a hook than what I'll be using tonight. Same hook, different size. This is a Mustad 3366. I'll be using a size 2, and I think this is probably a 1/0. But you can absolutely scale this bigger or smaller as long as you keep everything proportionate to itself and proportionate to the hook. So, anywho, let's go ahead and get this started. I am using what did I say, the 3366. I'm going to be doing this in a size 2. And the thread I'm using tonight, I'm just going to be using a Danville's 210 denier black. Lay a little thread base and trim off the tag. Alright, we'll go ahead and work our way all the way to the rear. Right between the tip of the hook, tip of the barb, thereabouts-ish. That's right where we're gonna peel our thread and our bend. So I went ahead and I just kind of pre-cut some pieces. I'm not the greatest cutter with scissors. I didn't pull out the razor blade and the straight edge. I just eyeballed about a hook's gap. How close was that? That's pretty good for eyeballing, if you ask me. Doesn't get much gooder than that. Anywho, so when we fold this over, we want to kind of line this up so the turnover is just, I don't know, right at the eye of the hook. Maybe just right on top of it, not too much. Let that flap flip over. That's where we're going to tie this in. Do a soft wrap to start, and then you can just continue adding wraps with a little bit more thread tension. I'm going to pause there, fold that back, take a wrap or two underneath the foam, and then we're going to go back on top, and I'm even going to go underneath the back side a couple of times. Just on this first batch, I'm going to kind of overdo it just to do it. Help prevent everything from rotating by taking those additional wraps forward and behind of the material. It's not a guarantee, but it's going to definitely slow it down. You could always add a little dab of Zap-A-Gap. So the name of this game is Rubber Legs. That's what we're going to be chucking a lot of into here. And you got all sorts of options. I mean, you can. I've got 3 different options here. I've got this kind of a speckled reddish, kind of a reddish pinkish. Then I was looking at my Fly Tyers Dungeon bug legs. These are kind of more of a bloody red. And then I also have little round rubber legs. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with the round rubber. And you got to be careful with this stuff. You don't want to peel it all off too fast, too quick. You don't want to be wasteful. So I'm going to go for one measly little strand. Just kind of push my whip finish tool into there and work one strand, and we'll peel it off like a banana. Banana on the boat until it floats. So I'm going to bring the 2 ends together, and then we're going to stick these out the back of the tail. So I got this big long loop forward, and when we go to trim it off, it's going to be like shortening the blanket both sides at a time, but it'll work out. So I'm going to have these stick out just a little bit past, maybe half as much past. Big fly, we can just set our thumb right on top, give it a squish, and we can carefully wrap. I don't know, 1, 2, 3 wraps. That's all it's going to take, at least to get her started. Go and trim that loop off. We don't need that up there. And now we got our piece ready to go for the next time. And I'm going to set this on top, because we're going to tie a few of these tonight. So Oh my goodness, my trip to Montana was just absolutely phenomenal, folks. If you ever gets the chance. All right, let's fold this back. Remember, we're gonna keep our eye on the head up here. I'm gonna go for almost just flush with the head. Kind of a soft wrap to capture it, and then we're going to pinch down on that slowly. If you're using too thin of a thread, you also run the risk of just cutting your material right off, and that is no good for nobody. All right, we're going to add a little dabble dubbas. The material, the video that I watched was a kind of a copper brownish ice dub, and what I'm going to be using is some of this. It's called Leech Dub Canada Brown, and it's got all sorts of color and stuff in it. So we're going to do a little dab. Oh wait, before I go too far, I wanted to do legs. The video that I watched did not do legs at this point. They just went ahead forward, but Exhibit A that I got from Dave has legs in segment number 3 there, and I really like the look of that. So that's what we're going to go for. And for my legs, I'm going to try these centipede legs to start. These are orange, and they call them speckled hot orange. And I really like the variegated kind of multicoloredness of it all, so we're going to do 2 on each segment. That's how we roll. And we'll just trim as we go. So again, this is kind of a big enough of a fly. You just hold the rubber legs right there. Maybe do 1, 2 soft wraps, and then you can reposition. Give it a wiggle, and we'll just leave that right there for now. We're going to get our other set of legs for the other side. Team other side. Same thing. Because you're always going to get the opportunity to give it a quick adjust. I'll do 1, 2 full soft wraps. I'll grab those legs, give them a quick adjust. We just want to make sure they're on the side. The length at this point doesn't quite matter too much. So 1 more little cinch, and then we'll fold that all back. Take a couple tight wraps right there in place, and that's going to help kind of keep everything locked down and from rolling around. Alright, so that dubbing we were talking about, we're going to add a little dab of wax, a little tacky wax, and we're going to add this Canada Brown Leech Dub. We're going to add this to the hook underneath the body. So we'll just grab that whole mitt, throw everything back there out of the way. And if it doesn't go out of the way right away, don't worry about it. Usually it just kind of will bounce out of the way once you get to it. Let's see, we're just going to fill that gap. A little bit more dub. Nice and tight noodle there. There we go. That's going to build our little segment. I'm going to fold both pieces down. A couple of tight wrap, or a soft wrap followed by a couple tight wraps. And we don't want to wrap too many thread wraps too early, because we know we're going to go over everything with, again, a couple more times with the with a thread locking in our little rubber legs here. I think we might burn through all these little batches just on this one first fly. We'll do a different set of legs for the next batch of flies. Tie these in on the side. We'll do the near side. We'll go 1, 2 to just start it. Some might get discouraged by these rubber legs, but I don't know. I think they're fun. And if all goes to plan, I'm going to go hit the water first thing in the morning with this fly. What do you think? Will it fish? I think so. Guaranteed to catch a fish. All the flies we tie are guaranteed to catch fish. Have to be in the right water, the right time of day, the right moon phase, with a proper presentation and a good drift. And you got to set the hook properly. Keep your lines tight and reel it in. That's the guarantee. But most importantly, I think the thing that really helps a fly fish is just having the confidence in it. Because I know, for example, like when Dave throws throws his fly of the day, or a Mr. Brown, he has the utmost confidence in it until it doesn't work, and then he switches flies, one to the other. But you know, that's what we all have to do as we approach the water. Just have the confidence in it, confidence in the fly, confidence in yourself. You know, one of the things that I notice beginners on the water is that constant search for that perfect cast, and they'll sacrifice 2 or 3. I don't know. I'll give them 6 or 7 out of 10s if I were to rate them, and they'll sacrifice a couple of those, splashing the water, and search for the perfect cast to hit that spot just right, whatever that spot might be in their head, and it just ends up splashing the water and spooking the fish or confusing the poor little guy. But you know, if you get it out there halfway between where you want it, well, it landed there. Fish it first. That's where it is. Might as well fish the spot where it landed at first. That's what I do. I always try to do a set at the end of my drifts. Boy, it was interesting. I get out there to Montana and I'm trying to strip set these trout. That did not work. I missed a couple good hookups, I tell you that for free. There's a difference between strip set and trout set. We strip set for bass, and I don't know what else you strip set for, but I strip set for bass. And you got a trout set for the trout, which means you just lift your line or your rod basically straight up, opposed to pulling a forward tension on the fly. It makes a difference, I tell you that. All right, look at that. Oh man, that is buggy. All right, we'll just fold this forward and prepare to whip finish. Oh, check this out. I had an idea earlier about an assistant, a helping hand, if you will. Look at this. We all know what this is. This is going to hold all these them legs back. Well, we commence our whip finish. Wherever I set that by, there it is. Nice tight whip finish, and we are good to go. Trim that off. Release the hounds. Alright, we're going to trim these all to about the same length. So we're going to grab a fistful of them. All but the two little ones in the very, very far back. We want to leave those ones alone for now. So I like to give everything a little stretch just to make sure I got it. Pan up just a little bit. And then I relax it a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go right across, about a thumb's width. Just like that. Oh boy. That looks buggy as bug. Might have to go just a little bit shorter. I think we're going to go just a tick shorter. Just a little bit shorter. There we go. I like that. Alright, let's go ahead and trim our tail. And what we're going to end up, what it's going to look like is almost just a beaver tail. So we're going to go probably just a little bit shorter. Watch those rubber legs. But like that. I'm going to go at an angle. Right about there. I'm going to take it out of the vise because it's just going to be a lot easier that way. Let's see. That looks good. And we'll get underneath here. It might be just a little bit too long on these legs. I'm going to kind of go at a little bit of an angle there. These back legs are a little bit shorter than the front legs. Why not? I'll leave that little tail sticking out. So, not quite exact, but we got a little bit smaller of a hook, a little bit smaller of a profile, and the foam is just a tick smaller. This is 2mm craft foam, and this looks like it might even be a 3 or 4. But that's the general concept. Boy, that's gonna... I'm feeling optimistic about that. What do you guys think? So Smartmouth made a great comment, good tip. A tiny bit of dubbing on the thread does wonders from keeping it from cutting into the foam. And it also does wonders with mono. Don't ask how. Then I shall not. Well, I think I'm going to fish that tomorrow morning. So we are dealing with almost, well, I mean, I guess everything is technically a record, whether it's a record absolute low or not. But we are, article I read, here in St. Cloud, we are upon the 5th lowest water levels. We have not seen water levels this low since 1988. So, I don't know. Dave on the sample has that kind of glued together. But you know what? I'm just going to send that. I think that's going to be just fine. Pretty stable, pretty solid. Good enough to get tore up by a bass. Actually, you know what we could do, is if we're smart, is a little dab of insurance policy. At least help keep the thread together when it does get chewed up. So let's do a little dab. We're going to do a little dab of Sally's, a little bit of the secret sauce. Boom, 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 right on top. And that's going to soak in there. I mean, we could use a UV resin if you want like instant gratification, but I think in this case, I'd rather it, absorb deep into the pores and the crevasses of the thread. I wonder if maybe we suppose on our next one we could do another little dab of dub right there. What do you guys think? I think we should do that. Because that'll give it a third segment underneath as well. Mr. Monkey approves. I'm pretty sure the bass are going to approve too. Oh man, I need to get out and fish these. I step away from my bench for 1 week and I find gold all over the place. I just looked down and I saw the rusty shrimp from 2 weeks ago, and I got excited when I saw it, to be perfectly honest. All right. What do you think? Should we glue a little dab of Zap-A-Gap back there? I think so. We can close that off. We can we'll quit horsing around, make it look a little bit of, just at least a little bit of professionalism with this. All right, little dab of Zap-A-Gap. It's not going to take much. There we go, and that kind of just got those right off of the horn, if you will. I think that's going to be just fine. Super fishy. All right, let's do another one. We got time. What do you say? I like that. That's a fun fly. Everybody say, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave, for turning me on to this pattern. He sent me an email or text message or however he communicated it to me, and my brain went, ooh, that looks nice. And then a few days later, he says, hey, Aaron, you remember that the old Mr. Wiggley pattern? I say, yep. He goes, here you go. And he had a picture of a nice bass with it. So we like that. We like that. I love coming across new patterns, new old patterns. What would actually work a lot better is if I came across the hooks I just set down. There we go. Dipping into the old Mustad 3366 size 2s. If anything, I guess you would want to go with maybe a 2x or a 3x long shank hook, and it would be a lot of fun. Little small foam cylinder in the front and serve as eyes. Oh yeah, let's do that one. We'll do that on the next one. Good call, Paul. We'll definitely add that into the next one. All right, so proportion-wise with our hook, I pre-cut my little bits of foam here. I just eyeballed the length because I know I was going to cut it down just a little bit and back. But as far as width, we're keeping it generally about a hook's gap. So that's our proportions. And just enough to fold back length of your hook plus just a little bit of change hanging off the back end. Let's go ahead and grab our thread. Once again, we are using a 210 denier. I like the fatness, the wideness of it. You know, the thing of thread is sometimes you want to go with the thickest thread as you can, sometimes you want to go with the thinnest thread as you can. Each have a lesson to teach you. You know, the big thread, you can really get carried away with the with your thread wrap. So you just really need to be mindful and methodical about your thread wraps. If you are encroaching on a smaller project, or you know, you just need to not build up too much bulk too quick. But there's that time where you need that little extra hefty fatness to help carry everything forward. So let's fold our piece in half. We'll find our position. Again, I'm going to go for roughly about flush up front. Open it up. We'll do a soft wrap. Soft wrap. Take a couple locking wraps. Another tight wrap or two. It's definitely slippery right now, but we'll get there. Alright, so that burned all but 4 of those legs. We're gonna adjust and shift colors. We're still gonna stick with our same red on the back though. That's what we're after. So I got this big loop of a red round rubber leg. Wed wound wubble wag. Came off this nice little wound wubble wag patch. Look at that. Pretty cool. Oh, there's a Sour Patch straws or whatever. That's what it reminds me of. Or no. What am I thinking? Twizzlers. When you get the pack of Twizzlers and they're all stuck together. That's what that kind of reminds me of. If you need help getting those peeled off, you can use a bodkin or any kind of needle to just help separate everything. I'm going to tie this in with my big loop forward. This is kind of helping conserve, get the most bang for my buck out of this piece of rubber. We'll do a soft wrap or two. And position. We want these kind of pointing off the back, nice and centered. And we'll trim out our loop, which gives us a full piece to play with for our next one. Bum bum bum. Fold our piece back, we'll match that up. Double check our front end. Soft wraps to start, and then you can start adding a little bit of tension. Alright, and help keep everything from spinning, we'll take a wrap or two directly underneath on the shank of the hook. And for giggles and grins, look at this, I can even do that. Looks fine to me. Alright, so we burned up our, what color was this? This was a speckled hot orange. That's what it was. That was an 804 Montana Fly Company, MFC. Good product. Good product from MFC. I don't think there's much from the Montana Fly Company that I've come across that I really did not like. Let's go with these big old green ones. They're still barred. I've got a whole little assortment. tie these down into tiny size if we wanted. I really like the look of the variegated. This will be a medium speckled olive, number 2. And we're going to pick 2 per side, per segment. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's a dozen little wiggly little things. We're going to do 1, 2 turns just to get her close. And we'll prepare 2 more legs for team other side. I guess that would be the port side of the fly. Alright, we're looking good. Keep them on the side. Alright, let's add a little dabble-dubbus. Before we add a dabble-dubbus, we'll add a little waxus. It's just a low-tack wax. I like it. Good stuff. Alright, for the dubbing, again, I'm going to be using this Leech Brown Canada, or Leech Dubbing Canada Brown. Nice leech kind of brown material color. A lot of shimmer and sparkle in there. I like it. Do a nice tight dubbing noodle. Careful not to dub the legs into it. Fold everything back. Get right up underneath there. We'll build our segment. I'm going to go just a little bit more, just a touch more. Boy, that didn't twist on there very well, but we'll see how we do. That does alright. Fold everything forward. This will be our middle segment. Go over everything. Once, twice, add tension, add 3 tension. Couple wraps around the shank of the hook, and then there we go. I think we're good. You know where that's going? Nowhere, that's where. At least I hope not. Let's see here. There's our legs. Another couple sets. Just take your time. It's just a matter of patience with all these rubber legs. We're going to trim these off just 2 at a time. And it's a big enough apparatus, big enough situation, you can just hold them on the side. Otherwise, you could do the lift and lower and try to flip them all the way up and around. But at this point, we can just kind of pinch everything on the side before we wrap. And it always helps to kind of go at an angle and anticipate things rolling over on you. So start up top and let it roll and flip on you if it needs to. Here we go. And just make sure those are nice and even and on the side. We like that. Alright, we're back to the dub game. Let's go ahead and add a little touch of wax first. Same brown dub. You know, I think after this one, we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to try a black one. I think this would be quite the fly, almost like a floating Hellgrammite. Let's go just a little bit more. Kind of balled up on us there. That's all right. That's all going to help it float. All right, let's fold our head forward. Lift that up, get a bite on it. I like it. Some dots. We could do some dots on top. Could definitely speckle her up. I'll have to find my speckling markers. Got some brown. We could do some eyes. Could easily glue in some eyes. Dave had his foam was a little bit thicker. He did some eyes up front, so maybe we'll. I think I saw some eyes somewhere. We might even be able to just glue some in real quick. Just because. But before we do that, we got to do these legs. That way we don't forget. Let's do 1, 2 good wraps, nice and soft. Then we can position and add a little tension. Again, you know, it's like because we're using a larger thread, the 210, we just can't go absolutely bananas on our thread wraps. I'll just build a lot of things up too much too quick. Because the 2 wraps on this side suddenly become 4 wraps because we tied in these other ones too. We can just do 3, so it makes 3 and 5. Good enough. I like that. And we're going to do just the tiniest little touch of dub. And then we'll do our whip finish. I think this will help kind of lift up the head just a little bit too. Prop it up. Come on, legs, don't get in there. Good enough. Let's go ahead and fold all that junk back. And grab a hold of it with our helping hand clip. Not available in all stores, but it is a great tool to have. A little hair clip. Alright, let's throw a whip finish in here. And go 1, 2, 3. Nice solid whip finish. Alright, let's trim these legs back. Make sure we got the left ones on the left side and the righties on the right side. is nothing. Don't give them too much of a tug. But we do want them nice and even, Steven. That looks good to me. What is that? A little piece of the dubbing. Alright, we discovered that it was a little easier to trim her tail. And watch your legs. Boy, oh boy. Oh boy, that's fishy. Alright, let's add a little bit of insurance policy on this. What do you say? Let's add a little dab of the secret sauce. Some Sally Hansen's. Where did we put her? There she is. We'll do a little dab into that batch of thread. Right into there. Right into there. And a little dab of Dewis right up there. Oh yeah, we were thinking about gluing the eyes. We also wanted to add a little dab at our tail. That's one of those operations that we're gonna just do that in hand, if you will. Close that secret sauce up and do one little drop. Just enough to wet everything. Oh so carefully, oh so carefully. I think that looks alright. Looks pretty groovy, man. I like it. And now we had eyes we were going to try to glue on. Ho 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 ho. I think they'll fit. I'll think they'll fit. Now when a fish hits, that's going to last like 3 seconds, but I think it's going to make all the difference. A little dab of gluey on the side, some Zappa Gappa. And then I got these little tiny little stick-on eyes. I'm not sure on the size of these. 4mm. And you can just use your bodkin to Alright, Mr. Wiggly. We like you. I officially like this pattern. It's an easy tie once you get used to rubber legs. There's no other way around it. That is... wow. suppose without that last set, the red would stand out maybe a little bit more. Maybe we'll try that on our next one. We're going to do an off color, not yellow. I mean, that looks buggy. That looks bassy. That looks bassy, I shall say. Alright, let's take a little pause for the cause. Bada boom, bada bing. So, just as a reminder, since we're about halfway through the live stream, we'll make the announcement same as we did this morning, or same as we did at the beginning of the live stream. So this is our on deck to our last Wednesday night live streams. We're going to be wrapping these up next week on the 28th. And we're going to start transitioning back into face-to-face tying at the VA, which I'm super excited about. I'll be in contact as things are progressing and moving forward. So, yeah, super excited for that. Give myself a little bit of time to transition. So, catching up on the chats, just saw Mudhole. By coincidence, there's a couple of Project Healing Water. Remember, they're getting tipped for their rod build contest. Nice. And the schedule. Well, we're going to be wrapping it up here, but a lot of these videos are, well, they're all are archived into here on YouTube, and I think I do got to go back and capture this year's and put them all together on a playlist. That way the 2020s and 2021s will be on two different playlists for your binge watching pleasures. So for years to come, you can always come back and watch what we tied and catch up. So let's see, adding a strip. Oh, we forgot to do the foam for the eyes. Yes, that's what we forgot to do. Oh, well, we're gonna not forget to do that this time. We're gonna do probably a black and red. I've got a little chunk of red right here. We can cut this right away for the eyes. And we'll just grab our dark colored foam. I'm thinking black and red on this next one. So let's go ahead and spin over again. And bada boom, bada bing. I love the idea of pinching in a little bit of foam to come out as the eyes. Let's see here, get the light back on. And let's get our foam out. This stuff has actually got a paper back to it, sticker back. That's not what I want. Well, I guess we'll just have to go with this dark brown. Dark brown it is. It's gonna be a dark brown and with the red eyes. The old red eyes. We'll get number 2 out of the way. Speaking of number 2, that's our hook of the evening. Little 3366 size 2s One of our go-tos. We like that. Alright, so first things first, we need to get ourselves a little bit of foam. And I'm going to eyeball a hook's gap worth. You know, you can kind of do something like that to get your initial measurement. And I'm just going to work across this whole strip. That looks good. And we can measure out our distance more or less-ish. That looks pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, so that's our foam. We'll start with our thread. Bum ba bum ba bum bum bum. So big thank you to each and everybody who's tuned in over the last year and a half, for if you've watched one of the live streams or all of the live streams. It's definitely appreciated. I've always been fascinated with the internationalists of the audience. I mean, the fact this goes out worldwide, and the participation and the interest from all corners of our all corners of the map. Almost said all corners of the globe. Hey, what am I, a flat earther? Let's go ahead and do a couple soft wraps to get her started. We'll start adding some tension. Couple spins there to keep it from spinning. I'll even tuck a couple back there. We're going to stick with the same round. Whoa, wow. Red round rubber legs. Red round rubber legs. Round red rubber legs. Wed wound wubble legs. I think that'll do us just right about there. Couple soft wraps and a couple more with tension. Just make sure they're positioned right on top, because we're gonna, just like we did the other ones, pinch them off the back end. You're good to go with this. Till next time. Alright, let's fold this back. Again, we just want to monitor at the front of the head. Don't want to go too far. Go 1, 2, 3. Lock it off. I'm going to do one more for good measure. Alright, let's pick some legs for this. Let's pick let's go with this little brown speckled. So with this, instead of coming off of the smaller little patch, we're going to take one rubber leg, fold fold it in half, trim the loop. Now we got 2. Let's go 1, 2. I like that. We'll do that again. Grab a little rubber legs. Squiggly little guys. And we'll put these on the far side. I like to do almost put them on top at an angle. And then as the first batch of thread plays through and grabs everything, then you can reposition. Alright, little dabble dub us. We're going to shift gears a little bit. The first ones we did that Canada Brown leech dub. We're going to shift gears. We're going to do some of this pseudo peacock tan. Kind of a rainbow, kind of a magic rainbow to it. A nice little tight dubbing noodle. Advance our thread forward. Don't worry, I have not forgotten about the eyes. We'll get to that here in a moment. On to more legs. We like legs. I think legs catch fish. Legs catch fish, peacock catches fish, chartreuse catches fish. Lots of things catch fish. Two reps. Switch sides. And we'll do another 2. Try to keep them all in the same V, if possible. That helps kind of keep everything spread out and buggy. Buggy, ay, ay, ay. Some more of that pseudo peacock. Ouch, that's a sharp hook. Always be mindful, ladies and gentlemen. If you're doing it right, you're tying with a brand new hook, and your brand new hooks are going to be your sharpest, which fortunately for you and the fish is a good thing, because it'll be a nice clean catch. Alright, let's grab our red foam. So we're talking about a red cylinder. Well, guess what? I ain't got no red cylinder. But I do got a little bit of red foam. So I'm going to cut myself a little bit of foam. About that much worth. Put put it all the way in. Bada boom, bada bang. Couple of tight wraps. I'm going to actually give that a little trim. I've never seen it just slide out. I've never seen it. I've never lost it. You don't even have to glue it. Honestly, you don't. If you want to, you can. But I like that. Maybe we'll do the next one kind of similar. But I think maybe the next one I won't. See, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to not bother with the first set of legs, which is the ones on the very far back end, but it's just a why not kind of moment. I mean, if I'm the type of bass to hit a fly with rubber legs, I'm going to want some rubber legs to go with that. We're going to leave that at that. We're not going to do any more dub. Use our helping hand to hold all that back. We'll go with a 1, 2, 3 whip finish. All right. Trim our legs, we'll trim our tail. Cool. Let's get our little longer scissors available. I like that. And then we're going to dismount. And if you cut your little red ones, well, I guess tag you're it. I'll try to avoid that. Alright, we'll get ready to add a little dab of glueless. Little zap-a-gap on the back. We're not soaking it. I like that. And let's go ahead and throw our insurance policy right across the top onto that thread. I'll drop there. Little drop there, let it soak in. There you go. I suppose if you wanted, if we really wanted, we could just add a little into there. But I think that works otherwise. I almost want to go a little bit shorter on these legs. What do you guys think? I think just a little shorter. Because then it almost looked like a Helgramite or a centipede. Centipede legs. Let's do that. Just going to take it down another notch. That looks a little bit better. I like that. Just the right length. Questions, comments? What do you guys think? Oh, I just looked up and saw some Chernobyl ants, and I'm thinking to myself, those would have been a nice one to throw out in Montana last week. Would they have worked? Who knows? One of the bigger brown trout that I caught all week was one of my last fish of the trip on a dry fly, and it was on a size 20 little baby black care or black caddis that we tied in Montana in the lodge in the cabin, and fished it that night. And that's what makes it so special. Catching fish on flies that you've tied, sitting there with your family, enjoying it all. That's what it's all about. I like that. That's a pretty cool length. I was also thinking, another good hook for this would be the Daiichi. You know what? We got time for what? One more? We got time for one more. I think so. I think so. And this will be a little bit bigger. So we'll have to adjust and accommodate. I was thinking about this hook earlier, and this is why we didn't start with this hook, because this is the last one of the pack. So this will be our last fly of the evening, probably. But a little bit different hook. This is a kind of a wide gap stinger hook compared to, let's pull out the 3366. So this is a 1/0. So we're going bigger hook. 2, we're going a different style of bend. Let's see, I'll put the eyes right next to each other. So that's kind of the difference. I'm thinking I've had great success with these wide gap stinger hooks. I've just fallen in love with them. I really like the 3366s for like woolly boogers and such. But I think for our final one here tonight, we're going to do a sandwich on there too. We're going to do a tray layer, I suppose. So let's go with the brown. I like that dark brown. But I do like that yellow. Let's go back to the yellow. We want to make sure we got enough of this though. That's, I think, good enough for this gap. How's this for our length? See, that's going to be just a little too short. So we'll cut ourselves another piece. We'll eyeball that right about there. I think that'll give us enough length. Yeah. All right, we'll start our thread again. Same old thread. Maybe after this, if we have time, we might quick whiz bang out a little mini one on a size 8. What do you guys think of that? I think that sounds like a plan. The old shoulder blades are feeling it, tell you that for free. Stay up there. Let's stay up there. Come on, guy. Get a couple of reps. All right. Getting down to the last bit of our red round rubber leg. Red round rubber legs. Brought to you by Hackle Time, where you grab your chicken and it's hackle time. Enjoy hackle time responsibly with a friend. Alright, so this one, I'm going to not do a full segment of legs in the very, very back. I'm going to stray from that. No, I'm not. I can't not do it. I got to put legs there. I gots to. Let's figure out what legs we're going to slap on there, though. Let's make this one fun. Let's go. What do I think of this? Orange and gold speckled. kind of stripey enough. But is it dark enough? Alright, we're going to leave it up to you. We're going to do a quick vote. Whoever... Either that or we got the kind of the brownish. What say you, audience? Do we go orange or brownish? Orange or brownish? That's the question. We'll take a quick pause until we get that sorted. Orange or brown? I need your help. Let me know in the chat. First one to mention it is the winner. What do you win? You get to see your choice. Being tied live. That's some... Oh, shut the front door. Mix them. Oh. We got a winner, folks. Let's do it. Let's go. I say which one. He says, why not both? Ha! I love it. I love it. All right, so we'll take one of each for each segment. So we'll just trim this one off. And then we'll trim the other one off. All right, let's go near and far. This is brilliant. Let's do it at an angle. Start at an angle, let it flatten out. Remember, you're in control. Add tension later. Alright, so for our underdub, we're going to switch from that brown. I'm going to throw this Castle Black Leech Dub in there. It's some black, sparkly, different colors and textures. Oh my. But I do know we got to add a little touch of wax. A little bit of wax can always help. It's not going on clean, but we'll wrap it into submission. Nice. I'm going to go just a little bit more so I can bring my thread just a touch further forward. Going slightly larger hook than the previous one, so we got to space cowboy this out proportionately. Couple wraps around the shank, and we are good to go. Digging it the most. Another set of legs. Alright. zip zap it. 2 on either side. Get a couple tight wraps. A couple loose ones to start, but always finish with a couple tight wraps. Stubbing seems to actually slide on a little bit easier without that additional wax. So we'll give that a try. Alright, let's not forget our little eyeball that we're going to throw in there. A little bit of red foam. And I felt everybody's anxiety, so we're going to add a little bit of Sally Hansen's in there. So I'm just going to take a little dab. Not much, don't take much. Get it in there, slide that forward. Alright, last chance for legs. And I like the idea of using square legs for the outside legs. You'll get a lot more flittery action out of it, in my opinion, opposed to a round rubber legs on the outside. As you can see, for the most part, the legs just kind of bop out of the way. If you find yourself fighting your legs way too much, then you might need to adjust your approach and enter it with a little bit more grace. Because it's one of those things that the more you fight it, the harder it's going to be. But if you just kind of approach it with a little bit of zenness, it's like breaking a banana in half. You know, if you go at it nice and slow, you're going to smush that banana every time. But if you just don't think about it, you can snap it right in half. Nice tight whip finish. And we can start our little trimming. And just trim the eyes flush. Boop. Boop. We'll get our legs cut down. Then we'll trim the tail. Whale of a tail to tell ya. Yeah, buddy. I like it. I like it a lot. Looks good. Looks good. Go just a little bit tighter of an angle there. I think that'll do us. Yeah, buddy. A little bit of glue on the bottom and we will be good to go. Hook that tail up. All right. A little dop, a little bop. All right, got that glued in. Let's add our Sally's on the top. A little bit of Sally's on the top. Let that soak in there and we will be golden. GTG, good to go. I think that's fantastic. I think that is fantastic. I love that. I love that stinger gap on that hook. I think that's just going to touch that off. I suppose you could. Tying that last bit in as a triangle. Try to catch it in with the last little bit of legs. Yeah, I mean, there's not much that's going to pull that out directly from the side. But, yeah, could work. Alright, let's do one more. And we're going to shrink-a-dink it down. Because we've tied this in size 2 on a Mustad 3366. We tied this in a 1/0 on this Gamakatsu. Or not Gamakatsu, but a Daiichi. So far I like this big old Daiichi. I think I'm going to throw that tomorrow. But let's do this on a size 8. 3366. We got some of these laying around here. So what this means is everything is going to be scaled down, including our thread. We'll scale that down a little bit too. We'll put the 210 away for now, and let's go. try the Vivas. We'll just roll the dice and see what happens. Alright, so I've got this piece. We're going to have to trim it down just a little bit. First we'll figure out its length. I think that looks good. And then for width I'll cut this down a little bit. A little bit closer to the hook gap size. Looks good to me. That looks good. Looks good, looks good. Alright, let's try. We'll roll the dice with the 10-aught. Hopefully it won't bite into the thread too hard. But since we scaled everything down, it should be alright. Famous last words, right? We're live streaming, so who knows what's going to happen. So with this one, I was going to sandwich another piece of foam in there, but I just completely forgot about that. Oh well. That's what happens. We'll tie our little red ones in for the back. Here we go. Alright, I think we're going to dive back into our little centipede legs. I've got some smaller, finer ones. I think will be just fantastic. So let's go with these little brown guys. This is a hard to see, but a speckled brown mini. It's pretty fine stuff. So we'll do a small little clump on either side each little bit we go. Boy, those are fine. Might be a little bit too fine. We'll see. Let's fold that over. Let's go to 2.4 per section. Well, you know what we're going to do? So we're going to skip this section with legs. We'll just bob it forward with our little bit of dub. And then we'll just do legs at the front two sections. So I'm going to take, I think that's 4 legs. Boy, Boy, these are tiny. Might be a little bit too tiny. Yeah, these ones are just a little too fine for me. We're going to see if we can't eject those ones. They're just too fine for this bit of a project. We'll upscale those just a little bit. We'll save these ones for another day. See if we can't find something a little bit more applicable. Those other ones are just a little bit too big. Let's go. I got these medium browns. Let's do this. A little bit smaller than the round. A little bit smaller than the square. But still nice and buggy. Yeah, this is way better. Way more applicable. See, as long as you keep things close to being proportionate, you will always win. It doesn't take much to just keep a good eyeball open for that kind of thing. Another little dab of Dubus. Alright, I'm not going to bother with the eyes on this one. We're just going to send it with the legs. Ouch, that's the elbow. And the last set. Last but not least, so we can tie these from a 1/0 all the way down to a size 8. I think that is just amazing. Patterns like that, I think, are just fascinating. You can only tie a streamer so many sizes. You can only tie whatever so many sizes, but some of these poppers and surface flies, your imagination's your only limitation. You could tie this pretty darn small. About as small as you want to make it, but you could also tie it just as big as you want to make it. And the color options are just endless. I'll hold those all back, do a whip finish. that again because it's just a little bit smaller of a thread. Alright, let's trim these legs even, Steven. I think that works. We'll do our little tapered cut on the back. And then we'll flip it underneath. Wash, rinse, and repeat. I'm kind of using the bend of the hook as a guide almost. And you know, it's not an exact science. So we're not going to lose any sleep on any product variances, if you will. Let's go ahead and add a little dab of glue right there. I think that works. It'll have to, because it is. Alright, well, we tied them big, we tied them small, tied them in between. So, boom, boom. And boom. That was fun. I think that was fun. What do you guys think? Well, that's going to wrap us up for the evening. What we're going to do is next week will be our last week for our Project Healing Waters fly fishing live streams here each and every Wednesdays. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in, whether you've watched one of these or all of these. You've watched one of them as a video, or, you know, it means a lot to me. I appreciate the audience. Like, follow, and subscribe, or not. Be sure to tune in. We got our Monday morning live streams. We're going to keep those going for quite some time. Those seem to fit into the schedule fairly well. So, looking forward to moving on to some face-to-face live tie-in. So tune in next week for the final bow of the Project Healing Waters live streaming. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. Please stay healthy out there. Please stay safe. Happy tying. Yeah, sure, you betcha. Tight lines. Peace.